pressing the buttons and stuff for, well, quite frankly, what's becoming our lunch break around here. We've got the boys doing their thing. It's really good to have you in here. Oh, Jared Whittaker.
It's good to have you here, Aaron.
It's a bit warm, mate, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're surviving. I believe we're on the socials as well, Mr. Carter. Fantastic to hear. All right, now, I've just walked in. I'm not going to lie. Okay, I've run around like a mad chook. Had some, very yummy kebab. Thank you very much, Mr. Carter.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the professionalism. Appreciate that more than you could possibly imagine. Hey, we're going to get straight into the show because, my word, there's a bit to talk about today.
Oh, hang on. We got ASMR.
Oh, dear. Oh, for the strange people in the audience, we have Travis. All right, that's enough you really need to know. But
Travis has his own unique following.
Yes,
that's what we need to recognise.
Yes. Many of them frequent Perth Zoo, but that's all right.
They are beautiful people. Leave them alone.
It's an acquired taste.
It is. And
Like fine wine and cheese.
Oh, we're certainly not talking caviar. All right, now you've got the old computer in top.
I always have it
in front. You're attached to this.
This stuff is always coming in through. And there's sometimes where I'm updating information as we go on the fly. It's coming in. It's like, okay,
it's that fresh.
There is a lot going on in the world. It's really interesting to see how many protests are going on around the world. I've noticed that hasn't been reported in the mainstream media for some reason.
Haven't picked it, no.
But everything from vaccine mandates at the United Nations convoy, to the Pfizer headquarters, through to there's stuff out of the Pentagon. There's stuff in Perth, Australia. There's a lot going on. What's interesting happening in Lebanon at the moment is people are burning several banks.
Burning banks
as the local currency has fallen to all-time low against the dollar. Okay. That'd be the US dollar. It fell to a historic low of 80,000 against the dollar on Thursday, according to the Lira Rate website. Now, this is concerning because you're getting double whammies. You've got inflation going through the roof for these people. Then you've got, of course, their purchasing power not only being weakened by inflation, but also now a currency fall.
Now, what does that mean to you and I? Well, I know what it means to you. What does it mean to I?
All right. So what it means in terms of if you're wanting to, if you were a business that was exporting to Lebanon, their purchasing power has just dropped.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So it's going to cost them a lot more to be able to buy whatever you are exporting to them.
Sure. Okay. Makes complete sense.
So, so when your clients are suffering financially, it has a ripple effect onto the business.
Of course, right? Absolutely.
And that's what you've got to look through and work through from this. Now, why is this big? Well, let's have a look at it. Inflation increased in Lebanon by more than 189% between January and November last year, 2022.
Wow.
Last August, their credit rating has absolutely
tanked.
The credit rating against Fitch described Lebanon's inflation as the second highest rate in the world. Much of the anger from the people is they cannot get money out of the bank.
Okay.
They can't so how do they feed their families? And this is why they're doing. They've basically stormed the banks with firearms last year to access their savings. And they've also been protests through the crisis. And last week, the Lebanese banks closed indefinitely in demand of a new capital control law.
Wow. I mean, I get really annoyed when my card doesn't work or, EFTPOS doesn't work. Well, I don't think I've ever taken the gun in there. But having said that, I can really understand this. This is crazy. That kind of level of inflation is just off the charts.
It is off the charts. And I don't know where they stand on interest rates, if they've been hiking them like they have been in other parts. But that's been the two-punch whack for Australians right now. Is that they've got inflation going up.
Yes.
Some of that, I think, is price gouging, to be frank with you.
Absolutely.
If you look between it. And then they're taking advantage of people in a situation. And I think the second part is, of course, interest rates going up. If you've got a mortgage, it's costing more. You've got credit card debt or whatever it might be, it's going up to try to pay that off. Now, what's interesting, if you couple this with, there's a really cool YouTube channel called Yankee Stacker.
You've just introduced me to this. It sounds like a pretty interesting little site.
It's quirky and I love it. He's got a great following, this guy. So he's a gold silver stacker. So he basically buys gold, buys silver, and he's a bit of a prepper as well. So he does it in case there's an emergency and run on the banks. He's got wealth to do stuff, and he teaches what to look for, how to do that. And he goes into, if you look at his prepper series, everything from water supplies, generators, firearms in the United States to whatever. And
does he live in Texas? The moment you said firearms, I'm like, that's in the middle of America somewhere.
Well, it's interesting. Firearm ownership's gone through the roof since
Oh,
2020 in the United
Can
States.
imagine.
Well, of
The-
course, they've got Biden as a president.
When you
Yeah.
well, it's because you defund the police.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you've got defunding of the police.
Hmm.
The biggest category where firearms increased in the US was amongst women. And
That does not surprise
and
me.
they were
yeah.
not buying rifles or shotguns; they
Mm.
were buying handguns.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because Joel Jamal had a video on this one a long time ago. They were saying about if you want true equality, especially for women,
Mhm.
give them a handgun. That is the greatest equalizer out of anything. It doesn't matter how strong a guy is when faced with a firearm.
Sure.
like, that you've got no comparison.
No, no, no.
So it is a
Oh,
great equalizer.
It's also a bloody scary bit of territory to go into.
Mm.
Let's be absolutely honest. You're arming a population, but with what's going on,
You gotta
no,
remember, most of these people
You
grew up
defund
with
the
guns.
police. Who are you going to call
Oh,
in an
the
emergency?
guy's
If
not-
there's
yeah,
an
exactly.
intruder at home.
I'm not disagreeing.
No.
I'm frightened by the fact of the
No.
prospect of where we've had to go here.
No.
You know that.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you either.
Yeah.
I'm just going, what do you do in this situation?
Exactly. Oh, look, I'll tell you right now, I'd be loading up.
Mm.
Simple
So
as that.
it's really funny because I grew up on a farm, so firearms have been part of my life. Like
Sure.
I've always been
They're
around
tools.
firearms.
Yeah, of course.
But like, so I think it's the way I look at the firearm. I don't see it as a weapon. It's not a weapon. It's a tool to serve a purpose
Sure.
on the farm. So when people start looking at, oh, you know, we're defunding the police, the firearms are no longer a tool. They become a weapon because they're going to be
Sure.
pointed at a human. That's
Mhm.
where it gets scary. So if people haven't had the training to know how to deal with a firearm safely, that's where problems start. So
Well,
again, it's the education around the firearms.
Education,
need to
full
be
stop.
better.
Yep, exactly right. When it comes to firearms, if people are using them and they're not trained and they're not, and I also think, apart from anything else, if you have a firearm and you've got a license for it, you should actually every so often have to go to a shooting range and have to spend that time. I don't think, you know, if you get a gun license and you don't use the gun for 10 years, right, you're out of practice. I personally think maybe mandatory. I don't
Can
know.
I bring
every 3
WA
years.
law that they're
Oh,
trying to do at the moment into this
Please,
one?
please do.
So Papalia, the borderline, the most inept politician in Australian history next to Mark McGowan, has now turned around and said that every year you have to have a psychoanalysis done if you have a firearm license.
That's
But
ridiculous.
the people who are the highest risk of suicide,
Mm.
so the armed forces, suicide by firearm,
Sure.
the armed forces and the police are the ones that have been exempt from it.
Of course they are.
And we're already in a point where our medical system, like ramping, is
Mm.
out of control. And
Yep.
now you want to have anywhere between 100,000 to 200,000 people extra to go do psych reports.
Oh,
You think that's not going to cause even more suicide deaths,
look.
fatalities? Like, it's just an absolute, the idiot has, and on top of that, I think it's been reported 280 firearms are now being banned in Australia. And they're not banning the guns, they're banning the bullets because the gun is scary looking.
wow.
So that's how
Wow.
They're
stupid
doing what? They're banning.
firearms in
Particular
Australia.
firearms, yeah.
So the cartridges, so you can't shoot them on the guns, but half of, like, one of the firearms I got told is a single bullet bolt action rifle.
Right.
So it's a sports gun, but because it looks scary, it's on the list of banned.
Well, you know what?
Cartridges.
Again, it's all about feelings.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're scared and forget about the facts, I mean, I've used a bolt action rifle. Okay. They're the slowest bloody thing in the world
Yep.
to use.
Especially
Um,
when you got to load of one bullet at a time.
Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy slow. But the whole point that we're having to go there is just terrifying. And when I just threw that proposal, you know, out of the top of my head, maybe every 3 years or something, you actually
You
have to.
already have to.
Well, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Now,
So
that
you're-
makes sense. So,
yeah,
okay, that
unless
makes
you-
complete sense.
Unless you have a purpose of owning. So
Sure.
let's say you're on a farm, you've got a purpose, but
Sure.
your farm's got to be over a certain size.
Yeah,
so if it's a
absolutely.
little hobby farm, it doesn't count. Or you've got to have a place where you shoot regularly. And if it's a club, you have to attend certain amount of club events every year.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So they don't just give out guns willy-nilly.
No,
and
not at all.
handguns are even harder to
I can
manage.
imagine.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, one of my friends used to be the president and secretary of the Geraldton Pistol Club.
Sure.
So I've gone shooting with him a few times. There's all these other things. The regulations in Australia is insane. It is so
Oh,
strict. And now they want to make it even worse, but not for the people that actually need the regulations.
I grew up with guns around as well, as far as from the point of view of properties and living on the land and all of that to a smaller degree. But also as a young child, pretty much, I did air rifling at the local police.
That's not a gun.
Yeah, we'll work with this. But what I'm getting at is the police, police boys. That's what it used to be called back in the day,
Mm.
right? Anyway, we'd go and do that. And we were taught so much respect for the weapon, and we were taught how to use it. There was so much training, but ultimately,
And you never mess around with a firearm.
no way. There was so
Right.
so. Quite frankly, from what I've seen and growing up, as I say, what I've seen, on a personal note, I think that the people who have had these licenses, they are all, I would say, doing the right thing,
Yep.
and to demonise them, like our West Australian government are doing,
And
by
to publish their addresses.
publishing their addresses, just about to go there. Quite frankly, I would hope there's a class action about that. I really do.
It's in the works.
Mm.
So the stupid thing is about this, and I don't know if Derek actually knows this, the Papalia, the police minister, actually published a map in the West Australian showing the exact location, not just the firearms, but which houses had handguns and which ones had rifles.
Mhm.
So they actually showed criminals where to go. Now,
Yeah.
do you think if they ban all these weapons, do you really think the criminals don't go, oh no, we better hand in these bullets,
Yeah.
we better hand in these guns?
Absolutely.
No, they'll know exactly where to go to what houses now to rob because they don't have firearms. And this
Spot
is what
on.
they're doing in America because they're defunding the police. The women, especially people with small children, have to find another way to defend themselves because they know the police are going to be utterly useless because the crims won't care. They'll just
Yeah,
open fire on
exactly.
the police.
And that's pulling it back exactly to Derek's point. Exactly, that women are having to get handguns because of this ridiculous ideology of defunding the police and leaving people vulnerable. Crazy, absolute crazy stuff.
So getting back to the United States and
Mm.
banking in particular, it's interesting. Yankee Stacker I was talking about.
Yes.
What he does, he got an email from one of his followers on YouTube, and they emailed him. This individual works in a big bank in the United States,
Right.
and he said we went to this private meeting, and of course they held back his name and what bank he worked for, all that sort of thing, wisely so.
Mm.
But he said what they are noticing in the big banks in the United States is that three things. One, people have maxed out their credit cards to the max. Right.
Yes.
Number two, their savings are dwindling.
I can imagine.
Number three, and of course, there's no more handouts and stimulus checks that are coming from the United States. Number three, what's happening is that bank deposits are being reduced significantly for the first time in a long time, in many, many years. Less people are putting their money in a bank,
So
which causes huge problems for bankers. You think, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, they make money primarily through two means.
Right.
One is through lending. And of course, the more money they have in the bank, the more money they can lend out. That is not the primary source of where they get most of their funding. The other side of it is, of course, investing,
Of course.
right? And they can do other risky investments and that sort of stuff and putting the deposits money in terms of investing it out. Now, with that in mind, that's really, really interesting because, of course, in the United States, they've got some protection on bank deposits of $250,000 or less. His concern that he was raising was that they can change that amount at any time.
Mhm.
And there's this push and from this insider or whistleblower, if you
Mhm.
should say, from the bank saying, yes, people need to start being the custodian of their own
Sure.
wealth in terms of precious metals, gold, silver, and they also added bullets, so which was quite interesting. To
Precious
hear.
metals, right?
Yeah, from a United States
well, a
perspective.
good amount of copper and tin in them. So also Wayne's jumped on board saying great discussion, guys. So thanks, Wayne.
Good on
G'day,
you,
Wayne.
Wayne.
Good to see you there, my friend.
So you might be thinking, well, what does that have to do with me here in Australia? You've got to remember the United States is the biggest economy in the world.
Absolutely.
So if the banks have a run on the banks in the US,
Mhm.
that has huge implications on the whole financial sector.
Sure does.
People wanting their money out. And here's the interesting thing they revealed in this video that they were drawing on is that at any one time, the bank will probably have about between $750,000 to $1 million in their deposits at a branch in the United States. An ATM at the most will have a max load of 160,000 a day.
Okay.
All right. So they're saying if there is a run on the banks, it's not going to go very far amongst the people, right?
No, it's not.
And I have seen the shock horror of a banker in Perth when all these employees decided to cash in their checks for the weekend because their employer forgot the cutoff time of doing it electronically, or it just didn't work for whatever reason. Gives them cash in hand for the checks, and seeing a banker be concerned about a cash flow issue was really interesting to observe. Well, you can't all come down. You can't all come down and do this.
Oh, look, it's
Well,
as
yes, we
terrifying.
can.
Yeah, we can. Exactly right. It's as terrifying as seeing a guy from Pfizer on a date.
Now, I do have to ask, you were saying that there's less bank deposits going into the banks. Now, does that include like employment wages and all that sort of stuff?
I don't know. They didn't go into that specific detail. They're just noticing that the the amount that people are depositing in within the banks is dropping significantly.
Because I know, especially in the service industry in America, it's a very tip-based industry, so
Oh,
they get
yeah.
a lot of cash.
Right.
So I'd be really curious to see, is that because they're hoarding the cash because there's less faith within the banking system, or is it that less people are actually working, so therefore less deposits?
Well, I
going
think
in?
you got to remember the
Good
US banking system is actually quite clunky compared to Australia. Okay, they still do a lot of things by writing checks out.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas here, I haven't seen a check in Australia in quite some time. I think I got one from the ATO for the full amount of 1 cent.
The last
Ooh.
check I had was
You're paying for dinner.
the last time I saw a check was a police check to make sure I was allowed to get a job. That was bad, wasn't it?
Shocking.
So, yeah, it's very interesting, the landscape of where that is in terms of being the custodian. There's this shift going on I'm seeing where people are wanting to be the custodian of their own wealth again. Very minor at this time, but there is this talk emerging on social media of that occurring. He's not the only channel that I'm hearing that on. So
the interesting thing, I find that Australia is very baby America. So what America does, Australia follows.
Absolutely.
So when Derek told us about this one before the show, I did a quick look, and Australia has the same $250,000. Like the government guarantees you money up to $250,000.
Is that right?
So they tried to actually change that, but it was actually Malcolm Roberts blocked. It was the bank bail-in laws. So the banks were going to be allowed to dip into that money up to the 250,000 and force you to buy shares in the bank to bail them out. So at the moment, if the bank, there's a run on the banks and the bank starts to fold over, the government will use taxpayers' money to bail them out. So the banks want to be able to dip into your deposits. It passed both the lower house and the upper house, and Malcolm Roberts got it turned around before the Governor General signed it into law.
Absolutely brilliant.
so did it go through or didn't go through?
It did pass.
It did pass. Okay.
But the Governor General said, no, we're not signing this in. So there's the same sort of thing with the cash ban, where they're trying to ban cash in society. It just seems that I'm noticing, especially from what's going on in Lebanon, in America, especially some of the laws that have been passed in Australia, they're trying to push as much money into the banking sector as possible.
Yes,
and
it seems that way.
That just screams dodge to me.
Well, they want to have obviously the universal system, right? And by taking the cash out of our hands, that's going to gain them more control. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, there is talk that if they do that, then they're basically trying to swap this out for a CBDC.
Sure, exactly.
Go, right, we're swapping your money of cash of Australian dollars into this one now, or whatever currency you're working with.
So that's another thought. If they've got all the money in the bank, they could just now any time turn around and say central bank digital currencies are now a legal tender in Australia. So therefore we're scrapping cash and we're forcing everyone to go across. So that might be the way that I get around the cash bail-in laws. So one day you might wake up and all of a sudden you've got $0 to your name and you've just got the digital currency.
Yeah. And look, this all sounds very 1984, but it's very real. I mean, that's what we're living right now. And I think people who aren't actually realizing that, well, I think that's got a lot to do with the media they're watching, quite frankly.
Especially in WA, where we're so 1984, it's not funny.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's terrible.
I think other people don't understand it as well. And that's what we're trying to do here at Edge Radio and the Greater Wealth is like, hey, open your eyes. This is what's happening. This is what's going on in your world.
Have a look.
And this is the implications you have in your life.
I think Damo's back again. So Facebook user said, hello, gentlemen.
Oh, geez, what a nice fella. Yeah. He obviously doesn't know us personally.
No, it's,
I think he does.
Remember last time we were in, Damo was having problems, so I think it's Damo's back again. So I'm going to call Facebook user Damo for now.
G'day, Damo. Great to see you, mate. I know that he actually sent a message earlier today how much he was looking forward to today's episode. So, and the one later on with you can't say that, which is coming up at 4. I have to say it that way. You understand that?
We got a semi-lefty coming in.
Oh, we have. It's very exciting.
So anyone who's listening in, we've been hunting someone with different opinions to us. Because there's a bit of an echo chamber at the moment.
We're trying not to, but absolutely, yeah.
It's tough because, I find that the political sphere at the moment is such a dividing thing, and we need to start merging the different opinions so you can learn about each other. But we're not about you can't say that. We're here about the greater world.
We certainly are. Now, we are also here about having a break. How about that? It is Edge Radio Australia, the greater world. It's time to get a little funky.
Oh, excuse me. All right, we're on. Oh, the gaining off its head.
Has it?
No, my gain was on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
Sorry, guys, I haven't. Sorry, everyone. I was messing around with my mic yesterday and I changed all the settings on it, so I just had to quickly jump across.
Oh, it had some good sound effects in the background. I'm not doing my drink.
Oh no, this picks up like this thing in a nightclub would be an absolute lady killer. It really picks
It
up.
picks up. Send your complaints to info.
And it's also known as a pill mic. So
Oh. Okay, now. Well, he adjusts himself. Where are we going next?
So Travis's story on superannuation.
I love how you say it's my story. It's not mine.
That's your find. You're passionate about it, and I think it's a great story.
It was a good story.
Mm-hmm. And it was on the news as I was driving in. I heard it on mainstream media as well.
Did it actually make it to mainstream media?
It did.
When was it on?
The 12 o'clock news.
Wow, that must be really pissing people off.
Well, I don't think most people understand it, why they're doing it.
This is one of the reasons I took every single opportunity I could to drain as much super out of my account as possible. Because I think it's stupid.
Something I am currently doing. What are you turning off, mate?
I can't turn the aircon back on.
Okay, yeah, it's only that one on the far, on our left, on your left as you look at it. Did you buy chips for me as well, please?
Yes, that's why they're on the table.
Thank you.
I told you I'm trying to give you another heart attack.
I appreciate that. It's nice of you.
How do you know your true friends?
Please
Because
don't buy me chips. Is this me? Okay.
I even got Derek chips.
What? You got any chips?
Yeah, I want you to get fat. I can't be the only fat one here.
Happy.
He's like an old Italian mama.
I'm not happy.
Hey, leave me alone! Que casa voi? Sorry for the people that
Yeah,
speak
you're
Italian.
not fat enough.
Sorry, I just dropped a really bad swear word then.
Yeah, that was a Luigi pizza box and a half. That was, mate. So we got.
In high school, I used to date this Sicilian chick, and her dad would only say "Que casa voi" and "Pangole" or something else. So, like, he always taught like, "Oh, how you going, Travis?" And then he'd mumble all these Italian words under his breath. And then I found out later on, it's like, "Go f yourself."
Yep.
What penis do you want? Or like the direct translation is "what penis you want," but it's actually something along the lines of, "Is that playing?"
Mhm.
It is.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. The video bell. But yeah, that was some like really nasty swear words. And I was like, yeah, you're a wanker.
In my late teens, early 20s, I was used to date young girls a fair amount. Getting through their families tough.
So I'm going to assume it's Damo. He's saying, does he have a partner blowing on his own trumpet?
If I could do that, Damo, I would never leave the house.
So, Travis, you're going to.
Am I allowed to keep going with that?
No. Travis, focus.
Are you going to introduce the next one?
I thought you would not do it. You're the finance guy.
I think you should introduce it.
All right, fine. I'll actually do something.
Because I want to go.
Look at this.
I want to go into. I think,
No, it's Erica.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Erica. Sorry. Oh, someone's saying, oh, Travis.
Oh, Travis.
Oh, Travis. So if it's
Naughty boy.
Erica, sorry, Erica, I do have a wife and I'm taken. I don't know how she puts up with me. We had our 10-year anniversary the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah, on
Congratulations.
Thursday night, 10 years.
Congratulations.
I only just found out that's aluminium and tin. I'm thinking, what the hell do you buy that's aluminium and tin these days?
Can of Coke?
Oh. I saw a really bad picture about that on No Backstabbers 2.0.
Okay.
There was a can of Coke with a white satchel on the side of it. They said they go side by side. I thought that was so bad, but funny.
2.5 minutes, guys.
By the way, to the people listening in on the show, we love having your feedback and we love hearing what people's thoughts are on each of these things. So if something comes up and you want to ask a question, feel free to chuck it in the chat. Oh, that reminds me, Aaron, can you grab my phone?
Yep.
It's on the top of the microwave. For some reason, our personal accounts don't send the messages through to here. So if you can either watch our Edge Radio Australia on the Facebook, the YouTube channels come through as well. Again, Edge Radio Australia. Or if you're one of my followers, I've got Carter's Corner. So the messages will come through on there. I love it when you eat like semi-cold chips and you get the heartburn afterwards.
All right.
It's nearly as bad as eating ice cream, getting the ice cream headaches. I did one search. You know the guy with the company I was telling you about? I did one Google search, and I've had like 15 or 20 ads on Stalkbook about the bikes.
So what did you do for your lovely wife for your 10th anniversary?
I worked.
Well, that is a gift for her. That's good.
Yeah, I got out of the house. I was at work. She didn't have to put up with me for like 2 days.
Man, that's a special gift.
It is. Well, you want me out of here every day, so.
We don't always.
What is it? Absence makes the heart go stronger, right?
It does.
Oh! So we've now got 2 Facebook users here.
Oh dear.
So we've got Erica, and now I think the other one's Damo, because it's like, oh, the comments are all Erica's. And so I'm guessing that comment was from, you know what? Let's play a game. Facebook users, keep putting comments in there. We've got to guess who it is. It's like a mystery bag when you're at the pub, and they're like, yeah.
What
Drink-
mystery bags do you buy at the pub?
No, not bags, mystery drinks. So
Okay.
when,
That's
I,
better.
when I was a
Right,
DJ
not
at
for
the
you, mate,
Toucan
not
in
for you.
Mandurah, so what used to happen is the bar girls would come up and
20 seconds.
they'd make a drink for you, and you're like, what's in it? And they say it's a mystery bag, and you just have to guess.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me.
It's Ed Radio Australia. We're doing the Greater Wealth. Travis over there, Derek right here. Me just sitting here, just basking in the glory of it all, which means that I didn't do the research. I just, take all the credit for when it goes well. When it goes bad, Mr. Cartier. It is. I'm going to throw straight to you, actually, mate, because you've actually done a little homework. I'm impressed. Penny's best friend. Oh, okay. Too late. Go on.
No, I'll leave that alone.
I just guess what I forgot to do. I forgot to turn your mic on. Aha! Good work. Nice work. So would you like to repeat what you just said, that
About you stealing Monica's cat.
something like that? Yes.
Yeah. If you didn't get the context of that comes across really bad.
Yeah, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something to do with finance.
We have been talking about America, the run on the banks over in
Yes.
America and all that sort of stuff, and people not putting their money in the banks because they don't have a lot of trust in them.
Mm.
And I made the comment that Australia is an interesting one because we're sort of like baby America. Like America will do it, and then
Sure.
give it a couple of months, and Australia will be passing legislation will be roughly the same. So the interesting one, it actually came up in the Australian of all places, nearly as bad as the Kitty Litter Times. Talking of cats,
Absolutely.
there was a really good article in there. I'll have to get the guy's name in a minute, but they were talking about a lot of the changes that they're doing to superannuation, how they're going to try to start tax. The more money you have in the superannuation, the higher the tax you're going to be paying. And it's actually quite a large article. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do, I found it really interesting. And I think it's a good one that we throw over to Derek, because this will have a direct impact on us, because what happens in America, a lot of our superannuation accounts, the not self-managed super funds, the super industry funds
Yes.
have heavily invested in America. So that's
Oh.
why it has a direct correlation to what happens in Australia, what happens in America. So Derek.
Well, the Treasurer is saying that they want to change the way that Australians access their super. So we've had in the last couple of years with the COVID thing, and many Australians, because they lost their jobs and they were locked down or
Yes.
whatever and had financial pressures, they changed the rules where you could access your super early.
Yep.
And there's talk about using super to buy your first home
Mm.
and all these types of rules. The Albanese government is coming out and saying we don't want people to be able to access it is for the sole purpose of retirement. And in some ways I hear that argument, but my concerns is, and I'll get to the concerns in a moment.
Mm.
If you look at the origins of super, it was because they realized that people were terrible at saving money.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
through their working career. And when they retired, they would not have anything to show for it. Because of an aging population, in terms of their calculations as to who would support and fund the retirement,
Mhm.
we were having less babies, which
Yep.
was, and an aging population, you're going to have who's going to fund the next generation
Sure.
in relation to who's going to, in that public purse that goes into pension checks and whatever it might be, pension payments. So they invented super to avoid all of that,
Okay.
so that you're storing it away. It's being investment. The investment world loves that because then they have more funds to play with.
Absolutely.
The bankers love that because there's more funds within their pool and that sort of thing to access as well.
And the government loves it because they can tax you 3 or 4 times.
And who pays for it? The businesses. The businesses are the ones that are forced to contribute to the
Sure.
employees' superannuation account. So most people aren't looking at it every week or anything like that. It's blissfully going along as they work away. Accessing it early has implications in relation to how much people will have when they retire. I get that, particularly if you're only getting, if that 3 to 7% a year, and you've pulled out, let's say, hey, you had 20 grand in your super and you've pulled out 10,000. Well,
Sure.
that's half your investment going, if you're in your early part of your career. What gets me about this, though, is that they're starting to target, and they say this, and it comes back to that tall poppy syndrome, where they say if anybody has over 500,000, we want to start cracking down on them having benefits of that, and saying that that's the wealthy that have over 500,000 in super. The whole idea of super, we should be celebrating people who have over 500,000 in their super, because it's less of a strain to the whole public system, right? This is what the whole idea is, to get them independent.
Wait, too. Also, right, that is pretty much of today's money, 10 years of fairly low income. Okay, 500,000.
It's
You say
less
50
than a
grand.
house.
50 grand a year. Hang on, 50 grand a year. So say you own your own home. You've done a really great job. You put away $500,000, right? Okay.
Yep.
What you're effectively saying at $500,000, you're saying, hey, I plan to last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
That's
to.
a very good point.
So if you've got $1 million aside, you're saying effectively, I'm going to last 20.
Right.
That's assuming that you have paid off your house. So no. I mean, to me, $500,000, no, it sounds like a lot of money, and I'd like it if anyone wants to pop it in my account, go for your life. But let's be absolutely honest. In retirement terms, it's a drop in the ocean.
That is a very good point. And they are dabbling. The government loves to dabble in super. It's the most highly regulated area in finance, because the rules to what investment funds can actually put money into is huge from the industry perspective. The rules for those who do self-managed super funds are incredibly strict. You have to do an audit every year. Every dollar has to be accounted for.
Yeah, but financial planners don't get audited that often.
Financial planners?
Yeah. So to give you an idea, personal experience. And so I found out I had 4 life insurance policies on my superannuation account.
You're kidding.
No,
me.
deadly serious.
Wow.
And it's actually illegal in Australia to be double insured for one thing.
Is
So
it? Okay.
I don't know how they got away with it, but yeah, and I couldn't even get a refund because it was too late.
Too late, of course. Well, too much trouble. Okay. But we're talking about a very highly regulated industry here.
Yep.
And we're talking about, and I'm so I will not dance around it. Your Labor government is a socialist regime. Okay. That's what they
They
are.
openly admit they are. It's
Yeah,
in their
absolutely.
constitution.
Absolutely. And this whole trying to tear people down who wish to be successful, it's got to stop. This whole ethos in Australia about tall poppies, it's got to stop.
It's not so much that someone's a tall poppy, it's the people who I like the term sovereign individuals who have gone out, made a name for themselves, understood the system, and said, right, this is how I get ahead in the game.
Yep.
They don't want those sort of people out there because they can teach other people to do it, like what Derek's doing with this show, because they're harder to control.
So spot on.
So it's absolutely a control thing. So if you want to do, I don't know, let's say you want to create a business around playing computer games or dressing up like in cosplay, stuff like that. If you've got a business model that actually works and you become quite wealthy out of it, power to you. Like, you know what? It's weird, it's creepy, it's funny, it's all those things. But if that is you and that's your life purpose, go to town. Same as if you want to have a finance business, you want to have a dog washing business, herbal treats, massages, whatever. Albanese loves those ones. If that's something that you're good at, you enjoy doing it, then power to you. You shouldn't have to be worried about, okay, if I'm successful today, what new regulations do I have to deal with tomorrow? But it's getting to the point. It's too hard.
Again, we talk about, our personal experiences, and it does come down to power and control. I think about the times in my life where I've the old bank account's been very full, and the options I have. Whoa, everything I want to do, the world's my oyster, right? You've got those options. Now, if something happened, I mean, I'll use a silly example. I had someone who was in dire sort of trouble on the other side of the country. You just jump on a plane. Okay, you don't just go, oh, hang on, I can't afford. Okay, I'm going to lose this week's wages and I can't do whatever. No, okay, this person needed me. I just jumped on a plane. Really, really simple. Got the first flight I could out of it. Right now, I look at your contrast that to other times of my life where things have been very, very hard financially, and you've got no freedom. You are tied down. You're just struggling to buddy keep that roof over your head, the food on your plate, and that is about control. And exactly this: if you've got governments who are taking away your personal control, there's no way in the world this is a positive thing. No way.
And the one thing I want people to realize is the superannuation in your account. Don't forget that's your money. You've
Your
worked
money.
for that money.
Yep.
I think it's absolutely diabolical that the government is trying to steal your money. And that's all it is. So they tax you as you put the money in. They tax you as you earn interest on that account every year. And then they tax you as you take that money out of your superannuation. And I think it's about 22% out at the moment. So it's disgusting what they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, look, for those people who did take the 10 grand out of the super over the last couple of years, they were taxed 22% on it, as I believe, right? So you're really getting back $7,600.
You're not taking out the 10 grand. You're taking out 12.
No,
12 too.
no. You're taking out 10 and getting back 7,600.
Is that what they do?
Or whatever it is.
No, we've just been able to take out some other money out.
Right.
And they added the tax on top of to what we took out.
Interesting. Okay, there you go.
Don't worry, people. It was perfectly legal. We went through the ATO. The ATO approved it. So.
Wink, wink. Yeah. Okay.
No, seriously. So, it's again, it comes down to the reason we were able to do that is because we understood the system.
Sure.
We knew what our legal rights were, and we said, you know what? Let's game the system legally and make the most out of this. So that's what we did. Every chance we can get, we drain that super every moment we can.
Go back to that famous Kerry Packer speech, okay, when he was up there and talking about how the government do not use your money very effectively. I'm not even going to go verbatim and give it a go, but I'll tell you what, that's one of the best speeches. Google it.
What was
Simple
it?
as that.
Anyone who pays more tax than they should be should have their brain checked or their mind checked.
Oh, look, something along those
the
lines.
head checked.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the
So
Senate
right
inquiry.
now you're not using it very well.
So
It's
so
doing
let's
very
go back to look. This is tin tax here. Okay, let's look at Australians and how we're being affected, and how, quite frankly, right now our government is grabbing us by the balls with our own savings.
Well,
I like the term short and curly's better. But anyway, just before this, remember, people, we are not tax accountants. We're not financial planners. Derek's the smart one here. It's all his fault.
Oh yeah.
No,
No.
I'm just giving you factual information, not giving any advice,
No.
specific or general. Throwing that disclaimer. I want to get to a point though that you said a moment ago, Travis, and I think there was something in there, and I thought, yeah, there's wisdom there, and it's that you were mentioning. I mean, we are trying.
Wisdom and Travis.
I know, and I'm glad Aaron was sitting down for that.
And luckily I was distracted by the computer for a
for the
second.
comment there. I was waiting, and it didn't come. Anyway, don't want to shock him too much.
No, please.
It's been a big week. So what we're talking about here is why is Monaco such an attraction to the wealthy?
Oh, the Grand Prix. Sorry, that's just me.
Well,
That's
the
just
track's
me.
not very big, but
No. It's because it's a tax haven.
it's
Simple
a
as
tax
that.
haven.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
it's also there's less regulation in relation to the taxes, and people can do what they want,
Sure.
come and go as they want. They just have to stay there for a period of time and contribute to it, right?
Yep.
Rather than trying to control people, look what happens when the whole society prospers.
Oh.
It attracts more money.
Of course it does. Of
Right?
course it does.
It attracts more opportunity. And I think we've got to get our headspace out of, keeping up with the Joneses and, so-and-so's getting ahead of me, therefore I'm going to go scratch their car or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That tall poppy syndrome thing. Think about it, guys.
Rather than pulling them down, why don't you just reach out to them and say, hey, look, I love the new car. How'd you get it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like those videos that you see on YouTube all the time, or TikTok or whatever the hell it is.
Which ones?
When these guys walk
With
up,
Andrew Tate, where he walks funny and then
No,
flips
no,
the
no,
car
no,
or
no, no.
something.
when they walk up to people with a nice car and going, really nice car, mate. How did you get it?
Yeah.
Or what do you do
Oh.
for a living?
I have to say, all the guys, they're like the bosses of car companies or financial guys,
Sure.
but it seems all the really attractive women in the cars, they always seem to come from the adult entertainment industry.
Yes. There's a
I
pattern.
have noticed that pattern on that show, on that channel. I won't say what channel it is.
But the thing is, okay, full stop. Okay, the old, drawn out thought process of Australians, okay, of tearing people down for success, it's got to stop. It is what holds this country back. It really does. People should be wanting to to succeed. And quite frankly, if you see some, I'm a big believer in this. Okay, you don't step on people to get to a successful place. All right, you take people with you. The more people you take with you for the journey, the more people have success, the better for the country, the better for everybody. Full stop.
It's got to be a win-win for all.
Got to be.
And the
Absolutely.
problem is that, as I've said before, we're losing a lot of our great business minds and entrepreneurs overseas.
Yeah, for sure.
2 reasons: 1, less tax; 2,
Red tape, green tape, purple
all the
tape,
red
yellow
tape.
tape,
Yep.
whatever tape.
less hoops to jump through to actually do what you want to do in terms of your life.
I was
purpose.
talking to, I've raised this guy's a few times because I listened to a lot of his webinars. A guy by the name of Stephen Pettis. In one of his webinars, he said, for the same amount of money, if you invest it in Australian like mining companies, you'll get about 6% return per annum.
Okay.
But if you invest it in America, he gets 23% per annum
You're
for the same industry, same business.
Wow.
So why would you invest in Australia? Like it's just
Such
you
a
think
shame.
about. He was also I had a meeting with him, so I'm not going to quote him directly because it was about 12 months ago. We were talking politics and what we can do to get more people investing into Australia, and he said that we shouldn't be targeting foreign investment into Australia. We should be targeting Australian investors and keeping them in Australia.
Yes.
Because he said it's anywhere up to $60 billion a year extra would be reinvested into Australia if we got rid of a lot of this red tape and blue tape and all that other crap that you have to hurdle through. Where if you're from China, Vietnam, America, you don't have to do that sort of red tape. You just need to make a level playing field, and so many more Australians will reinvest back into Australia rather than taking their money overseas.
I think about just this business we are sitting in right now. Okay, the red tape, the bullshit, the fees.
That's why you do it, not me.
Thank you. Lucky me. But okay, all the hoops that I have to jump through on a really regular basis. Like every single week, there's at least 3 or 4 issues you've got to deal with, which is just quite frankly government interference.
The
right?
biggest one is coming across the bottom of the screen as we speak.
Right.
For those watching online. So
And what is coming across the bottom of the screen right now?
APRA license
Oh,
number
just
and
ridiculous.
what's the other one? APPCA
yeah.
JK. It's almost like the LGBTQ community.
LNAP. No, but this is the thing. And like sometimes, okay, when like it's, literally 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing bloody paperwork or all that, and I'm going through this rubbish, I think to myself,
Why?
why am I doing this?
Just
You
run
know
a
what?
VPN, do it from another country.
No, but I could. Well, no, the sad thing is, you kind of think to yourself, mate, I could just drive a truck up north and be making great money and living a really relaxed and be sleeping right now. Okay. But because I'm trying to contribute to Australia, because I'm trying to make something better for this country, right? Good old free speech. You're paying the price.
And this is why I say the game's against you. When people come to me and they're doing financial hardship and going through it, I'm saying, relax on this thing in terms of your personal responsibility. The game is set against you in many ways. It's the Babylonian system, which I keep talking about.
Sure.
That controlling construct that only allows you to get ahead in fractions, only advance over long increments, and doesn't operate in multiples like we're meant to and intended to. We've got to, if you're going to really do that, you've got to get out of that system.
Yeah.
You've got to break free of it. And otherwise, you're not going to get into that real propulsion that you should be experiencing in your life.
And the only way to do that is to understand the system that you're currently in so you know how to get out of it.
It's a system that's designed that you will not break free of it. So you're just getting by. You always just have more than enough because they don't want you to disrupt the system, right? And
That's
if you
why they
start
put the tall
disrupting the
parties
system, then there's problems because then they can't control you anymore. And that's what you've got to be aware of what's going on.
Totally agree. And this is, and I don't want to sort of speak your wares, but the courses you do, and I'm doing one of your courses, it's just so damn positive. The fact of the matter is you get so much from it because you're able to step back and see things in a way you hadn't seen them before. And also have things that you thought reaffirmed and go, I'm smarter than I thought. I knew that.
How it interacts with other things as well. So
Absolutely.
I'm doing that same course as well, but I'm also doing the second course at the same time.
Oh, show off. I've only got so much capacity, man. Come on.
That's because you're doing all the regulation stuff.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
It does my head in. Like the second course is like, how's this not taught in schools? Like it blows my mind how easy it is once you get past that first course. The second course is like, this is a joke.
But this is the point, okay? Like exactly right. I'm beating my head against the wall because I'm trying to fight for success in this system, okay? And when you look at the system and now I know things about it that I didn't know before, you can look at it a little differently. I think you call them happy tickets,
Yeah, one of my mentors sort of happy tickets, Wes Hone. Yeah,
when it comes to money and all that sort of thing. It's just when you look at it differently, you step back. It's like anything. When you've got perspective, when you're in it, it's hard to see. You kind of you're in that nutshell. I'm in
You're
a
always
nutshell.
so busy. Like you're always chasing your tail just to
Yeah.
survive.
And not only that, but you're emotionally tied to that system
Spot
as well.
on. Spot
When
on.
you're aware of what the system is and the curtain goes back and you see for what it is, you go, is that all it is? Is
Yeah.
that all I'm worried about?
Yeah.
We've got a little comment here from Bicky Treats. The Perth Mint is no longer accepting cash.
That's
Is
been going
that
for a while.
right?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they've been doing that since COVID.
Thank
I
you,
don't
Vicky
know how they
Treats.
can get away with that because cash is a legal tender.
Mm.
They were quite strict on their mandates. They wouldn't, if you weren't vaccinated at that time, you weren't allowed in as well.
Well, by the way, this next comment, I'm
Mm.
not sponsored by this group, so we've actually gone there recently. The daughters wanted silver for Christmas and their
Sure.
birthday. I think I was Swan Bullion.
Okay.
So they use the same mints that the Perth Mint mints that gives it to them. They're like a wholesaler for them.
Gotcha. Yep.
And they're actually cheaper. And they still, from my understanding, as of Christmas, they were still accepting cash.
Good.
Oh, yeah,
to
they
hear.
do. They're
Yeah.
fantastic, Swan Bullion. I've dealt with them myself personally. I
Yeah.
love those
So,
guys.
by the way, no, we are not sponsored by Swan Billion.
Yeah.
If you know anyone at Swan Billion, please get them to sponsor us because
Exactly
we
right.
need the money. A bit of bullion would be nice.
Yeah.
You know what? Just right here, like a big chunk of gold would be
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. And I'd like not to be doing computer and paperwork at 2:00 in the morning. We could hire someone to do it. How good would that
If
be?
we had a chunk of gold,
That's right.
even if it's your old stock, we'll happily take it off your hands,
Oh, look. Yeah.
like for free,
That's right. All right.
and without a
gentlemen,
gun.
It is time for a break. It's Edge Radio Australia, the greater world. I can feel it.
All right, we're on the Yeti. The Facebook user said the spill in AHIO, Ohio,
Yeah.
Yes.
is crazy. So the spill is oil spill.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Oh,
unbelievable.
East Palestine.
this is
Yes.
what East
East
Palestine.
Palestine.
Cool,
It's
yeah.
called. That's the area.
I
Cool.
think they say Palestine just to make a difference.
Sorry.
Yeah, to say no.
Hang on. So like,
I'm only
is,
teaching because
is Israel next door?
What's that?
is Northern Israel next door?
Yeah.
Hang on, wouldn't that be New York? Oh, so
Well,
you
here's
guys
the
picked that
interesting-
up.
You know
yeah.
what's happened with that? So, I think they call it FEMA. The organization's FEMA.
Yes. Hey, that FEMA, isn't that the swimming people?
No, FEMA's the bone in your leg.
Anyway, there's a body in the United States that's supposed to clean up all these messes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're saying we're not going to give funding to it. The Democrats are saying no, we're not going to give funding to it, right? So Trump said, right, I'll be down there on Wednesday and see what the damage is. And now the Democrats are going down.
What a surprise.
But he was the one that had to force the issue.
It's insane.
You
But
know,
yet, you know, he's an evil orange dude that's trying to kill the environment.
they're okay spending money overseas to what causes we've been talking about, but they won't even help their own. people.
Damo!
That's right. How many train derailments have happened all in the 1 week in the United States? Tons.
But okay, here's where I get a little.
Damo's back, by the way.
G'day, Damo's back. G'day, Damo. Good bloke. Really good. The where was I going to go on this? Oh yeah, derailment. I'm getting a little sick of it because I'm wondering how many are on
Who?
wheel, right?
Drama.
What's that?
What did you say? You sick of?
The train derailments. The drama. Of
Oh,
this.
oh.
No.
Sorry, I got a story about train derailment.
Let me finish. You take
Sorry.
the butt. So very quickly.
Not my fault.
Totally your fault. But there you go. Okay, so got a friend who works in management at Coles, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, he just keeps being told about all these derailments that are coming from the Eastern States to cause, to justify all these delays.
Yeah.
Right? There is absolute. You know what? Trains are not falling off the lines left, right, and centre. Most of this is absolute bullshit. Right? It's just being used as an excuse. But they're actually, they're feeding that story, that narrative, all the way through the management train.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys, I was just
Sorry,
switching the battery on the
we're
camera.
Not fools. We're not freaking fools.
It took me.
No, a lot of people are. A lot of people are.
I ordered something some weeks ago, all the way from Sydney. How long do you think it should take to get to Perth?
Oh, wait.
10 days.
3 days.
It took 10 days to get to Perth.
That's nothing. We ordered, like, the gel that I use for my back. Is the warehouse is in Sydney. It took 6 weeks to get to
What?
Perth.
I
So
mean,
it actually took less time to order some from, because the company was so pissed off with Australia Post. They were taking so long. They actually ordered me some from America. It got to us before the stuff from Sydney got here.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was after 3 weeks of wait.
Wow.
So it's insane. So I have to give credit to that company. I don't know if I'm allowed to say who they are. There's a lot of contracts because we're stockists for them.
Say no
So-
more.
So don't disrespect.
I'll have to check with Dan
Don't
Doyle, make sure it's
disrupt
okay.
Okay, now we're back in a few minutes. We've got
Anyway, derailment. Funny story. So, obviously, my family, a lot of them are mine site workers, so I get access to a lot of the chat logs, which I probably shouldn't have access to. So, there was a train derailment outside of Port Hedland, and I have to give absolute kudos and credit to BHP. This I never ever thought I'd actually say this. BHP acted immediately to limit as much problems as possible for this one.
Okay.
So there was 2 trains, and the guy got told to put the brakes on the train that was on the hill. He didn't check the train behind it, so one of the trains at the top of the hill leading into Port Hedland had no brakes on. And so what happened is the train that was about to go away from Port Hedland, brakes were locked on, the other one wasn't, and it just rolled down the hill. So they've got speed traps all the way down the train tracks to make sure that trains aren't speeding and all that sort of stuff. The safety is over the top of BHP. Once they realised the train was unstoppable and they couldn't catch up to it, and because half the brakes were on, half were off, the other brakes were just dead. Okay. They clocked this thing to 180 kilometres in like the 60 zone. Like, it was totally out of control. Right. They said, "Can we stop it?" The guy turned around and said, "Don't even try. Don't be an effing idiot. Derail it now." And so they blew the track out and just tipped over $10 billion worth of iron ore in the train and the damage. Like, it was insane. So he didn't even contemplate how much money it was going to cost. He just did it immediately because A, it saved lives, and B, the amount of damage it would have done to Port Hedland as a whole was insane. So big kudos to Port Hedland for BHP for taking immediate action.
Wow.
Good deal.
You know, the scary thing is the train tracks were up and running the next day.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
We want, the money that they're moving through it.
Yeah. Okay,
now we're coming back. When we're coming back, we will have basically 5 minutes, right? So what are we talking about?
What was the last one on our
This
list?
one is the SEC, is which is the United States Security Investment Exchange Commission, is gearing up to take action against Paxos, a company issued the stablecoin Binance USD. This has implications on the whole crypto market if they do.
Okay.
Oh, we got more Explore couple cards.
They're all gone?
No, we got more.
Oh, we've got more. Yeah, absolutely. I thought you meant they're all gone. Gonna have to put an order in for fresh cards and stickers for us as well.
When's the next Lighthouse coming out?
That's reasonably new.
I actually don't mind it, to be honest with you.
2 minutes.
Actually, that's a thought. Have you thought about getting Top Landings to do some sponsorship yet?
No, I haven't had a word with Jody at all, actually. Sure.
You know what? After the amount of shit that they went through, I reckon we should give them 3 months just to say, hey, well done. Thanks for standing up for us.
Do you know what? That's a really good idea.
Hey, where's your channel changer?
What?
The channel changer for the airline.
Should be up here. No, here it is. You've left it down there, buddy.
I don't call it a remote, it's a channel changer.
Okay, 1.5 minutes.
9.5 minutes.
1.5.
Oh, okay.
When we come back, we will literally have, it'll actually be 4.5 minutes. Obviously, if we go over, we go over. That's okay.
So Erica said, leave it off, Aaron. That was a while ago, though.
Leave it off.
Yeah, I think she's talking about where you were talking about in bed and playing with your cat. And
Oh.
you know, that highly inappropriate comments we were making.
I never make comments, mate. That's you. That's your gig.
Web of lies, Aaron. Web of lies.
I am a gentleman and a scholar.
It's funny, as I say that, I'm actually eating chips. So for the people who know where that quote's from, well done.
What was the quote?
Ocean's 11.
No, what did you say?
Web of lies.
It's a pretty common statement, right?
No. Julie Roberts coming downstairs, and then Brad Pitt turns around and says, "Oh, web of lies." In the movie, every single scene, he's eating something.
Okay, we're back.
Back streets back. All right.
Oh, that's so right. Things can only get better now that you found Edge Radio Australia, the greater wealth. See, this is where you come just to you find clarity in your life. Derek, trust me. Find your greater purpose, all right? Come on. Your life's purpose. You can do it.
You want, by the way, I'm muted.
No, I turned you back on. Oh,
It's funny because you talk about this is a place where you come and you turn me back on, and like some of the comments you're making are like really
Oh.
inappropriate, Aaron.
We've got a guy on another station who could turn that into a really nice edit. Don't say a thing. Now, all right.
Anywho,
Is that your sister company?
Oh! All right, go on. Please, Derek, save us.
okay, so lovely the frivolity. What I want to talk about now is the SEC has a stablecoin firm in its sights, and it could shake up the whole $137 billion market. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission, shortly known as the SEC, kind of like the equivalent of our ASIC, could be gearing up to take action against a company called Paxos that issued the Binance USD stablecoin. Now, why is that a big deal? Well,
why?
What happens with a lot of crypto traders is they'll buy something like Bitcoin or some other alternative coin out there.
Sure.
And as they're trying to transition to a different coin, or they don't want the fluctuations, they're concerned that the coin that they're in is starting to fall, they might go to what they call a stable coin.
Okay.
Those stable coins try to match, for example, in this situation, what the US dollar is doing
Okay.
in real fiat currency, but they're not wanting to change their money into fiat, which is fiat is the dollars and cents that you get from the bank, basically. Sure. If this occurs, this really is pivotal in terms of defining the future of crypto markets, because where does that put stable coins? If they rule against them, right, that what they're concerned about was that is it an investment? Is it something that should have been basically put out there as a investment and they didn't list it properly on the exchange? Now, if this goes into litigation, all this stuff, stablecoins then become less attractive, particularly ones that this company has issued for those purposes, and it could have ramifications on the entire crypto market.
Okay.
As to how the SEC views this. And again, it's fascinating to watch this because you've got this technology that's come on board. Government's always behind in trying to catch up with new technology in business. They've issued it. The government's going, or the regulator is going, hang on a second, is this what you've done legal? And then it's that it's been the Wild West as far as crypto is concerned. Not so much in the last, I would say, 5 years, but prior to that, it was pretty Wild West out there.
Okay.
In the last 5 years, before hedge fund money started coming into this sort of space,
Sure.
and you had what we call ETFs, which are exchange traded funds on the stock market. The problem with the crypto market is so small that big industry funds can't get into it. They need the liquidity. They need to be able to pull investors' money out easily.
Sure.
And because it's such a small market, it would just totally disrupt the market, and you don't know if you can get your money back if there's enough buyers at the other side of it. This has been the difficulty with the crypto market, why it's taken this long. So what they've done is when industry money started getting the regulation in to do it, they would have funds on the stock market that reflect. You could buy into a stock that reflected what was happening on the overall crypto market or Bitcoin or whatever it might be. And so industry money would go into those things because they fall into the regulation of the stock exchanges that are required to do this. So in other words, to put that in plain English, a stable coin has been in the market something that people try to do what it does, stabilize their investment without converting it to fiat and pulling it out.
Okay.
Because that's what most people do. They get Bitcoin or whatever it is, and then eventually they convert it back into fiat currency to buy and sell, do things. That preference there in terms of exchange has been handy. A lot of businesses want to be paid. If a customer wants to pay them in a crypto, they go, look, I'm not happy with the fluctuations on Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it might be. I'm more happy with stable coins. So I at least know I'm getting some form of equivalent while I'm trying to move it into my business accounts, that the price isn't going to drop and I lose out on that exchange.
Makes sense.
So this is what's been going on. So what they rule on this and how this company responds to the SEC is going to be interesting too. If they put on the whole lawyers and they dig their heels in and fight it, you've got to think about what's that going to do in terms of the rest of the crypto market and investors. Are they going to go, uh-oh, this is dangerous because if we don't want to use this because it puts in risk if we move into our funds into this kind of coin.
Sure.
The way they play this out, they've got to play it out very smart and working. It'd be better to be working with the SEC, in my view, on this and going, okay, how do we resolve these issues? This is our view. That's your view. can we come to a happy
Yeah,
medium? here?
negotiate there. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
But it's quite significant as far as the crypto market's concerned.
Okay, I mean, because somebody said this to me the other day, and I don't remember the exact figures, but I mean, the crypto market, I think, I mean, I'm sitting here, and it seems like such a massive thing.
No, it's
But-
tiny.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going. Exactly right. When you look at the whole spectrum of the say the fiat system, it's just crypto is this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Virgil from Silver Bullion in Singapore did a webinar. So he's one of the founders of Silver Bullion, and
Gotcha.
he did a comparison going from all the different ways you can invest, all the way from cryptos, which was the smallest, to how much actual money there is on the foreign exchange market in comparison.
Sure.
And it's insane. To give you an idea,
Mm.
in a single day, the Japanese yen to US dollar, $1.3 trillion a day, roughly,
Just on that
is
one.
in a single day. That's how much is exchanged on a single currency pair.
Wow, that's more than you'll find it between the cushions couches here at Edge. It's
There's
fantastic.
about 3 trillion bits of hair and dirt. And
It also
anyway.
shows you why the banks have probably ignored crypto for a long time.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because they've gone, we can't invest in this big money. We can't liquidate big money into this space. But now they're kind of scrambling, going, well, hang on a second. The technology puts us in a whole different relationship with the consumers out there,
Of course, it does.
because the consumers are going, you haven't innovated for a while.
I've got a different take
blockchain.
on this one.
Mm.
So earlier we were talking about what they were doing with the banks and all that sort of stuff. We're talking about the control. So I have a sneaky suspicion the reason they're putting so much emphasis on it now, and why the SEC, was it SEC,
SEC.
is going hard on it. I have a feeling that they want to start scrambling the crypto market to bring in central bank digital currencies. They want to replace the crypto sphere
Yeah,
with their own sphere.
makes sense.
I think it's more of a takeover measure. So I'm wondering if Binance has actually tried to go, right, you know what, we will negotiate, we will work with you. And they've turned around and said, no, we're not working with you. We're going to destroy you. And that's why they're digging the heels in.
Well, this
and
isn't
looking towards-
Binance, the company. It's actually
Is it Binance?
Paxos.
Paxos.
Binance has got some other issues that are going on. That they
Especially
last
after
year.
FTX.
Mm.
So much going on here. Honestly, it's well, this is why we've got you here, mate. You can unravel the fishing line for us.
Yeah, Binance is increasing, is a different kettle of fish in terms of what happened last year. The Justice Department is investigating for suspected money laundering and sanction violations that Reuters reported last year. So they've got a whole different kettle of fish going on.
Sure. And the establishment would never launder money at all. So that's important.
You know what's really funny though? I think it's California. What's the really like green country and state in America? I think it's
California.
California.
It's
It might be San Francisco.
Yep.
Or is that a city?
No,
I don't know much about
San
America.
Francisco's in California.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So, due to the impact on the environment, the crypto mining has been banned. You're not allowed to do it anymore.
In California.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
So what they used to have, they have these warehouses just full of computers, and a lot of them were actually solar powered,
Right.
and water cooled. So there's no actual real impact on the environment. But they reckon because of the amount of energy that they're burning, they don't release too much carbon into the atmosphere. So they've now banned crypto mining in California.
Unbelievable.
I'm pretty. I'll have to double check, make sure it is California. But
California is, it is, and it's probably the most regressive state in the US.
yeah,
as
they've
far
got
as
like a
I'm
lot of deserts in California, right?
Yeah,
Like a lot of beach and a lot of desert.
It's very dry. It's very
Yeah,
dry.
so it's California.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because a lot of these crypto, especially the solar powered ones, they've got a solar power farm, and then next door to it, they've got a warehouse full of crypto mining machines.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes
So,
sense.
Yeah,
And with that,
it's
gentlemen, it's time to end the show. Look, it is. Now, I've
been
actually,
a good show. I've enjoyed it.
I'm glad you've
It's
enjoyed it. It's all
flowed.
about you. We know that, right?
No, I think it's the Red Bull just made it really, really cool.
Gives him his wings. Derek, thanks very much for being part of it. Jeez, mate, you're steering the ship. Where can we actually find you?
You can find me on the web, blueskyfactory.com.au. That's without the E, BLUSKY.
Nice.
So on the logo is there for those watching online,
Mhm.
BLU Sky Factory. Do a Google search for it, or
Yeah,
DuckDuckGo
fantastic.
is more reliable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome courses. And for those who are struggling a little bit finance wise, there are some very, very cheap courses on there.
The best way to do it is just book in for a free 15-minute consult.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a call. Just let me know what state you're in, and so we know the time difference and go from there.
Yeah. And if you're like me and you just want to break free of the system, this is the way to do it.
You put a song on, didn't you?
I'm going to play. Absolutely. It's Edge Radio Australia. I want to break free.
Did you miss the play button?
No, I didn't. Of course not. That would be unprofessional, Travis.
I want to break
Oh.
free.
Oh
Did I get it
no!
right?
It's Edge Radio Australia, the greater world. For a second, it had a mega quiet start to the song. As I'm thinking, oh, hang on. No, I didn't.
Then I pushed the button.
No, definitely.
That's what I was asking. Did you
No.
miss the play
No, I
button?
didn't. It was playing, it was just quiet.
It'd be funny if you did miss the play button and I said, "Oh, did you miss the play button?" Press the any key. Where's the any key? I still want to get a sticker, like make up a sticker that you put on spacebar, and it just says any key.
Oh, let's do that.
Any key. Press here.
Any two.
Now, let's just fix that right now.
Oh.
So that was fun. Now I want to say to Damo, Monica, Taz, Vicky Treats. Did I say Erica? Facebook users. There's actually a lot of Facebook user comments here, especially the one that went, "Oh, Travis." Mm.
Yes. But if that is Erica, trust me, you can do better. Probably down at the YMCA, something like that, under a bridge.
And
Much better.
the new guy, Wayne Brown. So welcome,
Yeah,
Wayne, for coming in.
Oh, Wayne, great guy. He's actually going to he has a show coming up.
Oh, is he coming on Edge?
Yes. He's
Oh,
doing a
legend.
relationship show, which I am doing. And dating. We're going to do a dating.
Gay dating. Is Mark
Hey,
McGowan
dating.
coming on? Mr. Mandate.
Chaz's pleasure. No, I don't think he's coming on. But we can do a dating show as well. So there you go.
You know what? You can always ask Albo come in. He's doing the Mardi Gras.
It's all right.
Too early? I never know.
It's never. Got a really interesting interview coming up actually in a couple of weeks, which will be with. Now, I always want to say Cassie J, but it's not Cassie J.
It'd be interesting to see how AI is going to affect the dating scene.
Oh, well, at least for the girls, it'd be good because guys will answer with more than hey, or, whatever they say.
It'll
More
be
than
more
two
than just a dick pic.
Yeah. Could you expand on that?
Show me some boobs and it will.
Oh, and I wonder why we haven't got a terrestrial license. Right. That's why we never want one. Oh. Awesome,
So-
guys.
Anyway, on that note, and it's funny because someone's put the emoji on. Actually, 2 people have.
Beautiful.
So on that note, I'm gonna pack it up and say love yous and ladies, and see yous in hour and 50 minutes.
See you next
Yeah.
week.
See y'all.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
See you at 4.